So you want to send multiple documents for signature to different people, and you want to use DocuSign for that to automate your entire workflow. Let's just take this form, for example. Do you want to send this form to multiple people so that multiple people can sign the same form? So signer 1 and signer 2 will be signing on the same document? Or do you want to send different copies of the same template to multiple people, and within those different copies, there might be one or more signers? Let's just pretend for a minute that you want to send this document, and this document is to be signed by different people on the same document. For this, it's very simple. You'll simply log inside of DocuSign, go to the Agreements tab, and then you will create an envelope. Once you've started the envelope creation process, you will simply browse and look for the file that you want your recipients to sign. And then here is where you can add all the recipients who need to sign the documents. And so you can add as many as you want. But if you add multiple people in this workflow, in this page, all the recipients will sign the same document. And then you can customize the signing order. Maybe you want, I don't know, Sofian to sign in position 1, and maybe then you want Mary to sign in position 2. And let's just delete that third recipient here, but you can have up to 99 recipients in the same envelope. So I've just entered my email as well as Mary's email, and then I'm just gonna click on next. And on this next step, here is where I can add my fields. Now, there's a new feature that DocuSign just released that allows you to add the fields automatically. So instead of having to drag and drop the fields on the document, you can simply go to suggested fields and then click on place fields. And then look, automatically all my fields were added. Now, it's not perfect, but for now, it kind of helps you build the form a little bit faster. By default, DocuSign makes all those fields non-required, but if you do want to make them required, you just click on the required tab. But that's not the purpose of this video. So here is how you would create a workflow where multiple signers will sign the same document. As you can see here, I have Sofian and I have Mary. So if I want Sofian to sign here, I would simply drag a signature field and place it where I want my first recipient, in this case Sofian, to sign. And if I want Mary to sign here, I would simply navigate the list of recipients that I have here and drag and drop a signature field for Mary to sign. And of course, I can do the same thing for the name. If I want Mary's name here, I'll drop it here. And if I want Sofian's name, I'll just drag a name field for the other recipient and drop it here. And then I'll click on send. If you want to review the workflow, so the order in which your recipients are going to sign, you can go one step back and click on view. So here you can see in which order your recipients are going to receive and sign the documents. So we have the sender, that's me sending right here, Solution Consulting. And then we have in position 1, Sofian, and then in position 2, we have Mary. This means that Mary will only get the document and will only be able to sign the document once Sofian has completed his part. So if I now click on next and send, I can track the signing process for those recipients if I go to my agreements tab and then go to send. And I can see here that I have Sofian and Mary. And if I open this envelope, I can see that none of them have signed the documents. And then from here, you'll just go to your emails, you'll sign the documents, and all your recipients will sign. And once everybody has signed, everybody will receive a copy. So this is if you just want to do a one-off. But what happens if you want to send multiple documents to large numbers of people, and this is a recurring process? Well, from there, you have two options. You can create a template in which you will be able to upload a CSV list that contains the name, the email, as well as any information that you might want to pre-fill the document with, and then each person will receive a copy. That's called the CSV way. Let me show you. And so with the CSV way, you'll have to prepare your DocuSign template, as I've just mentioned. Then you'll have to create a CSV list with all the names, emails, and information you might want to pre-populate inside of each unique copy that everybody will receive. Then you will drag and drop your fields on the document if it's not already done in the template, and then the envelope will be sent. The issue though is that if you send this to large numbers of people, tracking is going to be difficult. Imagine having to send one document to 100 people as separate transactions, so in separate envelopes. So you're going to have to track who has signed and who hasn't signed. And DocuSign's user interface is not really built for that. And then once people sign, you will have to manually download each document, rename each PDF, store them in a folder of your choice, and then you might have to export the form data that your recipients have entered in a form field to update your database or maybe in an Excel spreadsheet. So that's the CSV way. And I'm also going to show you that. But there's another method that we've built at Docusign. We've built an application called DocuSync. And so this application allows you to automate the entire life cycle of your bulk send, from the preparation to testing, to envelope creation, sending, tracking, downloading the signed documents, setting up the naming convention of your choice, and extracting automatically the form data your signers have entered in the form field back inside of your database. Let me show you how both of these methods work so you can choose the one that suits your needs. And before I forget, my name is Sofiane Saoudi. I'm an ex-DocuSign software implementation consultant. Back in 2019, I was working for DocuSign. And since the beginning of 2020, I started Solution Consulting, which is an agency specializing in helping organizations drowning in paperwork streamline the document workflows. If you deal with lots of paperwork, you can save your organization a ton of time by automating the full workflow of the documents that you send every day. And in order for you to do this, you'll need to first map out your workflow, learn how DocuSign works, set up your DocuSign templates, and then integrate those templates with all the apps that you use every day. So if this is something that you don't want to do on your own, if you don't want to waste time, and if you want the process to be efficient, then you can book a consultation with one of our document automation consultants using the link just down below. During the call, we will map out your process and suggest the best implementation for your needs. But if you're more of a DIY person, I also recommended you download our DocuSign Mastery Cheat Sheet. It will help you get started with DocuSign on the right foot. Now back to sending documents in bulk to multiple people. And we can start with the CSV method. So we're going to start by creating a template. And the first step is to name our template. So let's just call that template beneficiary information collection form, whatever that template is. I'm going to browse and select my document. That can be a Word, that can be a PDF, it doesn't matter. The next step is to add recipient placeholders. Here we are not adding real people, but simply placeholders, and those placeholders will be replaced by the information contained in the list of people that you will upload in the next steps. So we're just going to add signer 1 and signer 2. And then exactly like we did for the envelope creation part, which was the previous step that I showed you, we're going to drag and drop our fields on the documents. And so again, I can use suggested fields if I want to. I'm going to click on place field. All my fields are here, and we're just going to pretend that all those fields are correct. We're not making any of them required. Actually, we're not making this one required, and then the other ones are optional. Obviously, this is just a demo and it doesn't really make sense in real life, but you get the idea. And then for my signer 1, I'm going to place my signature field. And for my signer 2, I'm going to do the exact same and place my signature field. And then I'm going to click on Save and Close. Now my template is ready. What I need to do next is to create a list in Excel that contains the name and emails of all the people who need to receive that beneficiary information collection form. The easiest way to create the CSV template is to download it from the DocuSign template. So you click on Use, and then you go to Advanced Edit, and then locate the Bulk Send button, which is just here. And then it will ask you how you want to enter the name and emails of the people who are going to receive the document. We're not going to click on either of those for now. We're simply going to click on Sample CSV. And that gives us the CSV template that we need to use to populate the name and email of the signers that we want to send the documents to. And as you can see, we already have a problem because DocuSign doesn't give us the list of text fields that we may want to pre-populate. If I go back in my template for a minute, we might want to pre-populate some information inside of those fields, and DocuSign doesn't give us that. So that's the first problem that I have with CSV. Let's just populate the CSV with some dummy information. And so this is what I've just done. Each row corresponds to one envelope that's going to be sent. And as you can see, in some of my envelopes, there's 2 signers, like in this first one, there's Emily and then Sofiane. But in the second envelope, Daniel Garcia is the only signer. So let's now upload this CSV inside of our DocuSign template. So we're going to go to upload a CSV and then click next. And then I'm going to choose my CSV. And here, look at what's happening. DocuSign is forcing me to enter a name and email for the second signer in the envelopes where there's only one signer. And that's the big issue with DocuSign CSV bulk send, because your template expects the exact same number of recipients in all the envelopes. So that's not going to work for us. What we're going to have to do, unfortunately, is to create a copy of our CSV and make sure that we have one CSV with all the envelopes where there's 2 signers, and the other CSV should only have envelopes with 1 signer only. And we will also need to delete recipients in the template, so we'll have to have 2 different templates. One template with 1 recipient placeholders where there's only 1 signer, and another template where there's 2 recipient placeholders where there are 2 signers, and this is where it gets complicated. But for the purpose of this demo, I'm just gonna go ahead and delete the rows and delete the envelopes where only 1 signer needs to sign, so that DocuSign lets me send the envelope so that you understand the process. Once I've uploaded my recipients, I'm gonna click on Save, and then I can't get a preview of what my envelopes look like, and that's another disadvantage of using CSV if you compare that with the next method I'm going to show you, where you can preview how the envelopes look like before you send them. I'm going to click on Send now, and then that's it. My batch has been sent. If I want to track the progress of my envelopes, I can simply go back to my Agreements tab, Bulk Send, and then I can click here and see how many of those people have actually signed the document. But now let me show you a much better method where you don't have to fight with CSVs and create different templates and everything else. And that method is called DocuSync. That's an app that we've built at Solusign after working with DocuSign CSVs and bulk send use cases for many years. Let me show you how it works. Here is the DocuSync app. And the very first thing that we want to do, a little bit like DocuSign, is we want to import our data in the app. So we're going to choose a table. A table is sort of a placeholder. And then we can choose a client in case you're managing these DocuSign envelopes for multiple clients. Let's just say that the client is called AlphaTech. And then we're also going to tag the contact that we're going to add with a group name. Let's just say that we're going to call that group C. And then I'm going to click Next, and then I'm going to choose my CSV file. And my CSV file is exactly the same as the one that I was trying to upload directly inside of DocuSign, but DocuSign was giving me issues since in some cases, envelopes contained 1 signer, and in some other cases, envelopes contained 2 signers. As you can see now, the fields have been created and my data has been imported. The next step will be for me to map this data to my DocuSign templates. So I'm going to go to my interface, and then I'm going to go to my template setup and look for my template. And here it is. This application connects automatically with your DocuSign account and allows you to pull the list of all the templates saved in the account so that you can map the data to your DocuSign templates by just drag and drop, or I should say maybe point and select. And so here I just need to tell my DocuSync application where to find a name and email of signer 1 and signer 2. And I'm obviously going to choose signer 1 name for the name. And I'm also going to choose signer 1 email for my signer 1 email. And here it is. Now it's green, so it means that it's been mapped, so that's great. Signer 2 is going to be signer 2 name, and the email for that signer 2 is going to be signer 2 email, obviously. And now what I can do is to map information in case I want to pre-populate some of those text fields inside of my DocuSign template. So in this specific example, we don't really need to pre-populate this form with information. But if we needed to do that, we could also enter information inside of our DocuSync platform so that each person will receive their unique copy of the document, and each copy will be pre-filled with their information only. In this case, it doesn't apply. However, what I really want is to be able to retrieve all of this information back inside of my DocuSync application so that when signers enter information in each DocuSign envelope, I don't need to copy paste inside of an Excel sheet. And that's what I'm going to be able to do now. But the problem is that those fields don't exist. I don't have these fields inside of my database. So what I'm going to do is simply click on Create Field in the database, and one after the other, those fields are going to be created in my DocuSync database without me having to do anything, so that when signers enter information, this information will be stored back inside of their record. And as you can see, it's super simple. I just need to click on Create in a database. And as we speak, the database fields are being automatically created and mapped from my DocuSign template. And so now that I've mapped my recipient fields and my database fields, I can just go to the next step. And here I can choose the naming convention of my documents. So by default, the naming convention of the document just includes something super basic, the name of the document, a space, and the word signed. But what if I wanted to include the name of signer 1, for example? Well, in this case, I would just simply click on Add Record and then look for my signer 1 name and place this maybe at the very beginning. Then maybe I want to add another space because it wouldn't look really good without a space. So it would say signer 1, for example, Sofian Saudi, space, wire beneficiary bank information form, space, and signed. And I'm quite happy with that. Now that I've mapped my template, I can go ahead and create my DocuSign bulk send project. And so this is where I go to project setup. And here I'm going to create a new project. I can call that project beneficiary bank demo. And here I can choose whether I want to send this to one person or a group of people. I'm going to choose group. Now, which email do I want to use for testing? I can just say that I want to use hello@solusign.com. This is super important because when you do a bulk send, you're going to have to send a lot of test envelopes to make sure that the automation works the way that it's supposed to work. And while testing, you don't want to send envelopes to the actual real people who are supposed to receive the envelopes because that's going to create confusion. And so the benefit of using this DocuSync application is that until the status of the project, which is for now in draft, as you can see, changes to live, then all the email addresses of the recipients that you've imported inside of the application will be ignored. They will be replaced with test email addresses so that you can test in confidence without having to play with multiple CSVs and driving yourself crazy, quite frankly, because this is what I've seen over the last few years. People are so stressed when they need to send a lot of documents to multiple people because they want to test, and test again. Now here, we just need to add the DocuSign template that we want to use inside of this project that we've just created. So this is just the same template that we used together, the beneficiary information form. Here we get a confirmation that everything is set up correctly. Perfect. And so then our template is configured. We get to customize the email subject and email body with some custom information. So for example, if we want to add something like hi and then the name of the person who's going to be receiving this information, we can just choose a field from our database field and we can say hi and then paste that code here. Please review and sign the document. And we can do that for anything we want. We can include some variables in the email subject or in the email body. It doesn't matter. You can do it wherever you want. Our email is configured. Now the next step is to tell DocuSync how we want the PDFs to be saved. Do we want a combined PDF in case there's multiple documents inside of our envelope, or do we want separate PDFs? And if yes, how do we want to call each PDF? In our template, it's quite simple. We've only got one document, so I'm going to leave it as combined. But I'm also going to choose that I want to have the certificate of completion. So I will get a combined PDF with the document that's signed and filled out with the certificate of completion. I'm just trying to keep it super simple. So let's go to the next step. And the next step is to create the draft documents and to start testing, right? Because we want to test before we send this out. All my draft envelopes have been created here, but they have not been sent. So I could preview them. You're not going to see much if I preview them. So what I'm going to do is to add some information in a field for Emily Martinez so that you can see that this information gets pre-filled in the envelope. Let me just go back quickly to Emily Martinez and display one of the fields that we've created. Let's just say the country, and we will say that Emily Martinez lives in Australia. Okay, great. I'm going to go back to my interface. And then I'm going to generate the preview of this envelope for Emily Martinez. And hopefully, if everything works correctly, we should see the word Australia in the country field. And here it is. This is an envelope preview, which means it's not a real envelope. It has not been sent yet. But so we can't sign it, right? It's just a demo. But as you can see, the word Australia was actually pre-filled. So we can conclude that, yes, this envelope works the way it is meant to be working. If we want to triple check and really be sure that the envelope was created with the right people, we can go to the agreements and go to our draft envelopes, and we should find Emily Martinez, envelope just right here. And we can see the envelope was created with the name Emily Martinez, and the second recipient is Sofian Saudi. And as you can see, the emails have been replaced with dummy emails so that we make sure that when we sign as Emily, just to make sure the envelope works, that Emily doesn't actually receive the email notification. So now we can just go ahead and click send, because remember, we were just doing a preview. So now that envelope status will change from draft to sent, and we will be able to track all our envelopes directly in the envelope tracking view. So the envelope will appear here in a second, and here it is. Emily Martinez's envelope is here. And remember, we've used a test email. So the email that I've actually used for Emily, and we can track which email was used, was hello plus signer blah 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 @solusign.com. That's an email that I have access to, and I can actually show you the email. It is here. Hi, Emily Martinez. Please review and sign the document. And if you remember, I did ask DocuSync to merge the full name of the person in the email body of my document. So we can already check this box here because we confirm that the subject email and email body were merged, or at least created the way that we expect. All right, the next thing that we want to check is that the documents are actually present in the envelope, right? So here you are. We have one document. We don't have another one. Great. So the envelope contains the right number of documents. Let me try to do this like that. This is great. The fields are pre-filled. Well, we have the word Australia. That's great. This is what I pre-filled inside of my database. So we can also check this one. The documents are in the correct order. There's only one document in this envelope, so this one doesn't really apply. Now, for the number of recipients in the envelope, we can confirm that we have 2 recipients, and we can see that here, 1 and 2, and this is in a DocuSign website directly, so we can check that box as well. Then to test the next thing, so the naming convention and the data synchronization, we actually need to fill out the document and sign the envelope. So let me just do that right now. All right, so I've just entered some dummy information in the envelope just so that it's faster for the demo, and I'm signing as Emily and clicking on adopt and sign. I'm gonna click on finish, and now in a minute, I'm going to be receiving a request to countersign the document, since in my envelope, remember, I'm the second signer. And here is the document that I'm countersigning as myself, let's just say, and I'm going to click on finish. Now let's go back to my DocuSync project, and what I want to check is that the naming convention for the signed PDF was actually successful. The naming convention for the envelope folder was also saved correctly, and that the form data was also automatically extracted from the signed document and synchronized back inside of my database. So let's just check that all of this happened. I'm going to go to Emily Martinez record, and then I'm going to look for the signed PDF, and here it is. As you can see, we have all the information that I've entered in the document. That's great. But now the next thing that I want to check is that the data that Emily has entered in the form field, so all of this, has actually synchronized back inside of Emily's record in the database. So let's just check that. I'm going to try to narrow this down a little bit and show you all the form fields. So I've also populated all of these fields, I think. So let's just show them all. And let's open Emily's record. As you can see, I've entered 123 Main Street in my address line 1, and it's here. Then I've got address line 2 Small Lane, and I've got Small Lane. Then I've got Chase account for the Chase account number, a beneficiary bank, Chase account, it's here. And obviously I've just entered the same information everywhere, so but you get the idea. So this is how you can automate the process of sending multiple DocuSign envelopes to lots of people. So now that our project passed the verification, I can change the testing status to successful, and this is going to change the project status from testing to live. And now that my project status is live, this means that real recipients will actually receive the documents. I'm going to choose my template just to confirm that's the one that I want to use, and then I'm going to click on create my draft documents. So I'm just going to click on send and drag and drop this. So all my envelopes are now being sent one after the other, and I can track the process. As you can see, they are now all being queued, and from queued they will change to sent, and I can track the process of delivery and signature. directly inside of my envelope tracker, which I can access here. So for now, there's no envelopes because they're still being sent, but as each envelope status changes from queued to sent, those envelopes will appear here. So you can say, we'll sign next week, or told me that she couldn't access the envelope, please resend the envelope. So you can resend the envelope directly to someone in case they lost it. You can also void an envelope. If you no longer want Laura to sign this document, you can void it. If you want to make a change in the envelope, for example, Maria's email address is incorrect, you can fix Maria's email address inside of her record, and then you can also correct it, which means that instead of sending a new envelope to Maria, DocuSign, the envelope that was sent will be automatically updated. And as you can see, the envelope that I've just voided will probably now appear in the voided envelope here for Laura. It's been voided. And then you have a dashboard, a tracker. I mean, this is just much better than using the DocuSign CSV method if you want to send multiple envelopes to multiple recipients. Again, if you need help with your DocuSign bulk send or help with setting up templates, integrations, you can book a strategy session with a consultant using the link just down below. And until then, happy signing.